Howdy, howdy. Let me just, while you guys are, what's it doing? Jumping in, let me make sure I'm in the right spot. One moment. It's okay, we don't have anyone here anyway. Why does it always take forever? Why does it always take forever? I can invite people here as well. Who wanted to join that I know of? Say hello when you pop in. Let's click done. Hey Fee. Oh, you're going to get me twice in one day because you've got content creation later, which will be fun because that's going to be talking about promo launch. Yeah. One of my favourite things to do. So all good. Can you hear me all right? I didn't test that, did I? I made sure I was in the right spot, but I didn't actually test myself, which is just stupid. Oh, yeah, I'm good. Good. So this, I chose this subject first because I had a little chat. I'm good, darling. As you can see, I'm in my sport gear today because I did Pilates on Wednesday. So it's kind of my day. I had a call earlier and I was like, I don't need to look pretty for this, do I? She's like, no, don't. It's fine. So that's all good. Morning, Laurel. How are you? Oh, good. You cannot. Yeah, sounds perfect. Good. So yeah, I chose this subject to start off doing some tutorials in here because I get asked about it quite a lot, and there was a big thread in a different group that I was part of, and they seemed to really struggle. They were always all service-based businesses, and they all seemed to struggle around using Instagram because they were like, well, I don't, I'm not a photographer. I don't know, how do I make really good? Hey, Laura. Yeah, I saw you. I literally, as I was testing, I saw you, the request, like you got in just in time. So they all come back and they're all like, I don't know what to post. What can I say? I struggle with finding the right image for my post, that kind of thing. So that's kind of where I want to focus with you today and help you out with that. Because I know, and I don't know if any of you have seen this, but I know that I did a, how to create an Instagram image in under a minute on YouTube, which has gone down like a storm. But this is going to be a bit more targeted for you guys that are service-based, that, aren't necessarily photographers. You don't really know how to do the whole flat lay thing, and it's how the hell do I communicate in images, all right? So one of the ladies I was speaking to, and she was like, I'm really good at, writing blogs and, repurposing that kind of content. But when it comes to putting that on Instagram, she's like, what image do I use? I don't. And I was like, right, okay, so what image do you use with your blog? Does that not translate? And she was like, no, not really, it doesn't really work. And to some extent, she's right. So the way that you would use images on Instagram is quite simply just text. And I know it sounds ridiculous, right? So think about it, right? Some of the most popular accounts on Instagram are quote accounts. So let's have a think about that for a moment. What are those kinds of images? Those kinds of images are literally a color with a different color text, right? So if we take that, on board as service-based businesses, how can we use that? Because we know it works, right? It works incredibly well. If you look at the Bearfoot Academy, my other account, that is pretty much a quotes account, right? And to some extent, it actually does better than my personal brand. Okay, so if we take that on board, right, how can we use that in our business? How can we use that kind of strategy in what we do as service-based people. So if you think about it, there's only so many selfies you can take, precisely, and that's what a lot of people are struggling with. And some people aren't, their face isn't their brand, right? So for me, I have the 2 accounts that you guys know of. There are lots more, but the 2 that you know of, one of them is my personal brand. So yes, I'm happy to put my face on there, but even I'm like, do I really need a selfie today? And one of them I don't. So you are going to run out of that whole, you know, I just don't want to put my face on there, because it may not necessarily be the, you know, the brand. That may not be it. So with the whole quotes thing in mind, with the whole, you know, I want to start putting more images out, I want to start putting more content out on Instagram, but you've got no bloody idea how to do it. Think about the quotes people, right? So they literally use a flat color behind, and in some cases it's literally like black and white. So you've got the white and then the black text over the top. It's really simple and a little bit boring, but it gets the point across and it actually works. So how can we use this in your business? All of you, right, all of you will have content messages that you are sprinkling all over the internet, or you should be, right? So what we want to do is we want to look at those pieces of content, and just like a blog, right? So what about that blog is the quencher? What is it that you're going to grab their attention with? So it might be the header, of your blog. It needs to be that magical line that you're going to reel them in to read the rest of the blog, right? So we've got our blogging hat on, right? So that headline, that strap line, that punch line, that thing that's going to make them stop and stare, that's the text that you might use in your image, okay? And that's the one that's going to stop them in their scroll and make them come and read the rest of your caption. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, caption is the written part of your Instagram post, okay? Now I want to tell you a little bit about that. I am seeing these comments. I want to be an Insta rebel. You should totally be an Insta rebel. Yeah, exactly. A killer line. I fucking hate my sales page. Yeah, I feel you on that one. But you wanna stop them in their scroll, okay? Really quick lesson. Part of the way that you are found on Instagram is usually via hashtagging or explore page. So these people are cold traffic. A lot of the people that will see you will be cold traffic. And it's your job to stop them in their scroll, right? So, you know, we're sitting here, cup of tea in hand, scrolling through. You've got to get something in front of them that's going to make them go and stop in their scroll. Now, once you've done that, that headline, that punchline, that opinionated thing that you really want to grab their attention with, that needs to then lead them to read the caption. Most people won't, right? So if you're putting that fire into your caption but not into your image, you are massively missing a trick, all right? Because 9 out of 10, I think it's 8 out of 10, I think it's 8 out of 10 captions are never read. Okay, so for those of you that are writing these epically long captions but haven't yet mastered the art of creating an image that's a scroll stopper and is going to make them want to learn more about you, your caption's never being read. So for a lot of you, you come to me and say, I know they're not reading it. I know they're not doing it. They're not taking action, or you've put your call to action right at the bottom and not right at the top, you know, and all of that kind of stuff. And when I go and look at the actual image itself, that ain't no scroll stopper. And honestly, it's really, you've got to be really harsh with yourself when it comes to that kind of stuff. You've got to look at it and go, is that going to get my attention? Is that going to make me stop in my Instagram haze of scrolling enough to go, oh, I'm going to see what other juice is in here? Because if it doesn't, then it won't. You literally have seconds to grab someone's attention. And this is where most service-based businesses go wrong, like most service-based. Now, looking at my account, if you look at my account, you've got to remember with mine, I don't necessarily have to do that because my audience are educated that you may get a purple image or a purple video in some sense from me, but the caption will be something quite different. But that's because I've educated them to know that. If you scroll back through my feed, most of my feed, almost all of it in fact, was exactly what I'm telling you to do now. So it would have been an image with some sort of, you know, attention-grabbing headline, cocky strap line, something that's going to get someone's attention. And most of my feed was actually that. That's how I got people's attention. That's how I built up a good majority of my following. And then it was after I'd educated them, after they knew what to expect from me, that's when I kind of started filtering in still very high quality pictures, but I started to build in my flow of the purple and the really kind of cool and that kind of stuff. So if you always remember that your image is your scroll stopper and not the caption, all right? So we've got to kind of switch it around, okay? We've got to switch it around. See, on Facebook, your image would capture attention a little bit more, but really the nuts and bolts of the information is in the written text, right? So you don't necessarily need a really punchy image on Facebook, but you can see if you take it over to Instagram, you really have to think about what image you are going to use to grab that person's attention and to make them read your caption and then do whatever it is that you're asking them to do, if you're asking them to do anything. And you should be asking them to do something pretty much every post, especially in that building phase. So does that help you to kind of probably use a little strategy that you're using already when it comes to writing articles, writing blogs, writing emails, all of that kind of stuff, and how you can just translate that a little bit into what you do with creating an image on Instagram that's going to work? Does that help? Tell me in the comments if that's going to help. And I'll make sure I haven't missed anybody. And I'm just going to make sure that nobody else is coming in. Yes and no. Okay, so tell me what's the no. Why is it a no? I'm just making sure nobody else is asking to join. Yeah, cool. A yes and a no. So what's the no part, Laura? Laura, you're a yes. Okay. And thinking about the next question, when I spoke to someone else about this last week, the next was, but what image do I stick behind it? And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Okay, the image behind it isn't going to be the thing that's catching their attention. So if you go back through my feed, and to some extent I still sort of do it now, if you go right back into my feed, I would always stick a flower behind it, because it's about eliminating choices and making things super quick for yourself. So I was like, go into my words, I mean, go watch my thing under, you know, making an image in under a minute. But I would literally open Word Swag, type the word flower, find a flower that I like, throw it into Word Swag, reshaping it, lighten it, stick my my strappy, you know, my strap line on it, and boom, that was my image done. Okay, without thinking about it. So she was like, well, should I just stick what did she say? Fruit. I think she was going with fruit. And I was like, yeah, hell, stick fruit behind it. I don't care, because that's not going to be the thing that's actually going to catch their attention. It will be the word, the text, the thing that's you really want to get their attention with, that's going to stop them in their scroll and make them read your caption. And ultimately that is the job of your image, is to stop them, make them read it. And then your caption is to continue their inquisitive nature and get them to do whatever it is that you're asking them to do. Is it check out your profile? Is it to leave a comment? Is it to tag a friend? Is it to check the link in your bio? Is it to follow you? Whatever the call to action is, your caption should then continue that inquisitive nature and get them to do whatever you want them to do. I watched that, really good. Okay, oh, hang on, I've missed it. I get it, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. Why do you think you can't do it? Laura, do you write blogs? Do you write newsletters? Do you write Facebook ads? Do you write Facebook posts, do you read a book? Right, so think of it in a book term. So most of us have read a book, I'm guessing. Probably I'm the one that don't. I haven't read a book in ages. But chapters, like the headers, the chapters heading, I would use that as the text in my image, because that's the thing that's going to be the inquisitive part. It doesn't necessarily have to make complete sense, but you could like kind of look at your blog and piece it, you know, take chunks out of it. And you're like, right, which part of that is the real juice, is the grit, is the bit that's like, what's that? You know, the bit that's really going to make them go, I've got to read this. And it will be different per person, per business, because what's going to make them stop and stare with my stuff isn't going to work for you guys, because we're all individual, we all serve different people, we all have different market. But you'll know your customers, you'll know your clients, you'll know your audience. What is it about your audience that's going to make them go, oh my God, I can't read that? You know, and that's the bit that you have to put in the image itself. I guess it's just giving it time and practice. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't nail this at all in like the beginning. It took a while for me to figure that stuff out. And the more I found, the more opinionated I got, the better engagement I got. Just to warn you. But you guys aren't me, and that's cool. But you have your own way of encouraging your audience, right? So for me, I found the more opinionated I got, the better engagement I got. But you could be the same within your industry, and I mean, you don't have to take it anywhere near to the extent that I do, and I don't think I take it that far, to be fair. But do you see what I mean? It just kind of, you have to know your audience and know what they're going to like. What's going to trigger them is the thing I've got to say. Yeah, you know, it's super easy, isn't it, Fee? It's so easy when you figure that stuff out. And it really is just about limiting your choices, like massively limiting your choices. And when you do that, that's when you make things really quick. People ask me all the time, how the hell do you knock out so much? I'm like, it doesn't take me long. It takes me like a minute. It's really not an issue. I write blogs every post and tie myself in, not over the headlines. Well, maybe you don't think of it about the headlines. So write the content, the bulk of it, and then read it and look at it and go, which bit of that is the juice? And then take a sentence out and bam, that's your headline. You don't need to make it harder on yourself than it needs to be. I used to struggle with this all the time. I mean, I don't write blogs. It was like my 2017 New Year's resolution, so I haven't written a blog in a really long time. But I do write. Obviously, I write newsletters. I write Instagram captions. I write Facebook posts, and I just kind of take. I never think of the header and then write the bulk, like the beans of it. I do it the other way around. That's kind of. Yeah, I don't always get it right. Don't get me wrong, I don't always get it right. But yeah, definitely that's how you need to be doing that kind of stuff. And just, you know, try it, test it, see how you get on with it. It'll help to really unify your theme as well. So when people start to see things that are similar, it'll help to create that brand feel, and they'll come to know you know, what kind of style you're going to put out and all of that sort of stuff. So try posting that kind of content. If you're struggling with, oh my God, I can't bear another selfie, I can't take another picture of my keyboard, I can't you know, I can't be doing XYZ, you know, if you're at that point, you don't need to. You will already have lots of content that you just very simply need to snip out something, create an image for it, and boom, shove it on your Instagram feed and see what they think. Now, the other thing that I'm going to say to you as well is new algorithm changes have happened in 2018, and they are massively favouring video. So I know that this might terrify some of you a little bit more. Video is the explore page is favouring video over image. Image still works very well, don't get me wrong. But if you can start to potentially incorporate some video into your feed, that will certainly help with engagement. Now, again, it doesn't have to be your face. I've been experimenting with a little app called Quick, so Q-U-I-K, and that's been really helpful in creating video that's just all text-based. So, you know, it kind of rotates it around or it fades it in and out. It makes stuff look pretty, and it's actually really simple to use, and it was a free app. So maybe if you've got a couple of different things to say, maybe you've got a couple of really powerful headlines or strap lines or whatever it is in your caption, maybe throw that into a little quick video and throw that on there and see if they like that, because you'll need to test out as well whether they like video or whether they like standard image. And hell, they might actually like to see you from time to time. So when you get brave enough and put yourself, hey Monica, put yourself, you know, on the camera, you know, video within your feed, within your normal feed, it's just a minute. It's just a minute. So, you know, and you don't have to use the whole minute. You can use 30 seconds if you want to. But, you know, it can be a really quick way of communicating and building rapport quite nicely with your tribe. I think I've got a couple of questions. Would you say you can never use too many quotes? No, you can use as many as you like. I would, the thing I would say with quotes is, and given that I run a quotes account, for me, if I don't agree with the quote, I don't share it. And if I don't feel like that quote fits in with the vibe of my page, I don't share it. So, you know, don't be sharing something that's completely so far removed from the people that you're actually serving and communicating with that they'll be like, what? Do you know what I mean? So always go with the vibe of your tribe. And yeah, people love a quote, but don't expect much engagement on a quote. Questions will be your thing for engagement. Like literally, I've been working on a new account recently, and one of my best ones over the weekend was, what's your favorite Disney movie? That was the text on a black and white image, so white background, black text, what's your favorite Disney movie? And the engagement was off the chart. It's quick, it's easy, people like to answer questions and people like to give their opinions over. So just keep that in mind if you're looking to build engagement. Add in plenty of questions into your feed and put the question in the image itself. Make them answer you. People love to give their opinions over. People love to talk about themselves, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So if you're looking for engagement boosting, definitely ask questions. What have you got that I can start off with in hashtags? Laura, as in learning, you grab if you haven't got it already, grab the new hashtag hacks 2018. I've just revised that so that it's in line with the new algorithm, and it will teach you how to trend in hashtags, which for me is like, really that's the only reason you should be using hashtags right now. They've kind of done full circle in that they used to be really cool, and I love them, I do, and they used to get you really visible, but they're so, I think they've changed the algorithm with regards to hashtags because people just went too far. And you know, there were people, and I've only recently learned this, there were people using 30 in their comments, which is totally what I told you guys to do because it works, right? But the people that were abusing this, they put 30 in their comments, wait a few hours, delete it, then put 30 new ones in. I mean, talk about overkill, but Christ, you know, it's things like that that has kind of now made it very spammy to use 30 hashtags, which is what I'm saying to you, don't use 30 hashtags anymore, because if you do that consistently, it will get you flagged as spam, and you might get a shadow ban. So don't do that anymore. Where can I find it? Laura, I'll send you the link. I can't do it here because I'll probably end up cutting you off, but I'll send you the link. I'll pop the link below. for you guys, so you can get a hold of that. I teach you everything you need to know about hashtags. But yeah, so definitely don't do that. So that's kind of the stumbling block that I have seen and spoken about, and people have reached out to me for as service-based people. And I think most of you here are. Is there anything else that makes you go, oh, I just can't do it? I'm stuck. Help me, Sam. What's going on? Is there anything else that's really like getting your goat and you don't know how to get your head round? Like I say, most people kind of pointed me towards, I just don't know how to put an image with my content. I don't know how to do that. And hopefully I've given that to you, and you can now go away and run with that and work with that. And like I say, if you need help with the image creation itself, watch my YouTube. I'll put that here as well. How to make an image in under a minute. Because I'm a working mum. I don't have hours and hours and hours to spend on my business, especially not creating damn images. For instance, can you imagine? That'd be a lot of time, wouldn't it? And I know it's one of the things that really made me stuck was, how on earth do I communicate in images? Well, you do it actually all the time. You've just got to learn how to use them in the actual text itself. So hopefully that's helped you. Yeah, like how to engage. My engagement comes from. The thing is, you can't write a really, really long caption because I don't let you. You can write a relatively long one, and sometimes I do. If it's promotional, if it's like a promo salesy type one, then yeah, it can be quite long. And unless I've got, unless I'm on my high horse and I've got something to rant about, generally mine are quite short. And that's because I know that most people, I don't really read it. So when you do see the caption, if you're going to put something in, put that kind of the gritty bit at the top. Okay, so again, go back to the book analogy. So have that top part as your chapter header. Because when you're scrolling through Instagram, it will show you a small, like very small portion of the caption itself. So that first sentence needs to be, oh my God, I've got to click that more button, the more that's grayed out, so that it actually opens up and shows the rest of it. So again, switch that up. So if you'll put your call to action right at the bottom, maybe, I don't know, you're talking about something free or whatever, I don't know, free list building challenge, whatever, stick that right at the top, like stick it right at the top so that people actually get to see it. Because most people just won't read the captions. They're too busy and they're going along, and that's really that's why you always get more likes than you do comments. Yeah, that's why that happens. I need to get to the point. Yeah, you said it. It's the thing is, once you've figured out how to do it, and this is the feedback I get from most people that work with me one-on-one, they normally come back after a few weeks and they're like, this is so much easier. And it's because you don't actually need to put as much, not time and energy, because that's not right. It does take work, but it's quicker, it's snappier. You don't need to be thinking, right, I've got to sit and write this really massive caption now. It's never going to be like that, and it just doesn't work in that way. And it's almost like you can take that War and Peace novel that you've written, and what I would do is I would just like tear that to pieces and take various different pieces of it, and use that as individual posts. So if you think, again, we'll go back to books, chapters of a book, there'll be different paragraphs in the book. Each paragraph will be a different post. It's really kind of about having a big idea in your head and then just, ripping it to pieces and making much, much smaller pieces of content, and using that on Instagram. Instagram really is small pieces of content. There isn't anything lengthy on there. If you think about it, you can only have a minute video. The only lengthy thing you can do is you can go live for as long as you like on your stories feed, but everything else, your caption is limited to characters, your profile is limited to characters, the stories feed is like 15 seconds, that's even more limited. So it really is short and snappy pieces of content. So maybe try that. Maybe in this next week, I would maybe take one of your blog ideas, maybe take, I don't know, something that you're trying to drive traffic to right now. Take that single piece of content that you've written, whether it's a blog, whether it's a newsletter, whatever, you know, whatever it is, and try to take various different paragraphs from it. Within those individual paragraphs, take out that snappy, punchy headline and use that in your image and that small paragraph as your caption, and start loading that onto your Instagram feed and see how that feels, see what kind of engagement you get, see what people think and say. And always, you know, always add a question in, ask them to do something. People reach out all the time, my engagement is terrible, I can't, you know, it's nothing, they're not talking to me, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. And I say to them, right, test the water. You'll know if they're there. Test the water and go and ask them something that's really simple. And I know now you're all going to go off and ask them, what's your favourite Disney character or your favourite Disney movie or whatever. But do it, right? If you think that your Instagram following aren't there and they aren't listening, prove it to yourself. Ask them something that's so easy to answer that they can't resist answering, and they will come. It's like magic. It almost works like magic. So if that's how I do it, right? I still do it. I still get days and I think, oh, engagement sucked on that post. I know, I'm going to ask them a question. And on my next post, I'll be asking them a question. And then bam, there they are. They're right there. So they are there, they are watching, and it's your job to get them engaged. Okay, asking questions is great. Giving them that strappy headline is great. Giving them that opinionated piece of content is great, and they'll love you for it. And that's the kind of engagement that you're going to be looking for. Yeah, I think it needs to be like a specific off platform for me. I can manage 2K. So we're completely the opposite. We are completely the opposite. That's so funny. Yeah, you just need to learn how to break down that content. You should be on Content Creation Made Easy, because that's exactly the kind of stuff that we talk about on that. It's about, I call it the Spaghetti Junction. So I say that, and I have a client, a VIP client that's doing this at the moment. She has got such a beautiful mind, and there's so much knowledge in there. She's a slightly older lady, and there's so much knowledge in there. And I can see it. I can see her passion when she talks, and I can feel it in the way that she writes and the things that she puts out in her content. But it's so overwhelming to the audience. She's just like, I don't know how to do it. So at the moment, I'm helping her to tidy up the Spaghetti Junction in her head, and just to kind of separate it all out and straighten the lines a little bit more for her. And that's kind of what you need to do. But it's so funny, right? So hopefully that's helped you with service-based businesses, how you can communicate on Instagram as a service-based business. I'll be doing a tutorial each and every week. I think the next thing on your list that you guys asked me to do was converting followers to sales. So that's what I'll focus on next week. Probably same time and day, actually. Hang on a minute. Oh, you hate when you press a button. Because I think this is a relatively good time for kind of some of the US crowd waking up as well. Yeah, so yeah, I'll stick it in the diary for Wednesdays at 4. And next week we're going to be talking about converting followers to sales. But if there's anything else in the meantime, yeah, Jay, no worries, catch the replay, darling. Anything in the meantime, drop it in the group. And I'd love to see some of your posts, right? Pop them in the group. Show me what's going on. If you're not sure, for goodness sake, ask. Honestly, I do this stuff a zillion times a day, and I see, I wouldn't even like to count how many things I see each and every day. But if you're stuck, you know, ask, right? Sam, what do you think about this? Throw it in the group. I have no problem with you doing that, like zero problem. The group is here for you guys to ask questions, to test the water, to, you know, ask the people in the group, what do you think of this? How can I make this better? What, you know, I didn't get much engagement on this. Why do you think that is? You know, all that kind of stuff. It's a safe place for you to do this. So let me know how you're going to get on throughout the week. I'm going to go up and down the feed now and see lots of you asking about Disney, which is all good. And hopefully that has helped. So see you next week. Follow us to sales and keep coming with your what you need help with, and I'll fill it in once a week for you and do your tutorial. So I'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully you guys have read the email, because tomorrow is Women's Day, International Women's Day, and there is a little cheeky something coming for you. So make sure you read the email. I'll see you later. Toodaloo.